Hi guys, how's everybody's night going? Anyways, it's me again, Veronica. I am back at it again. Hey guys, this is actually my second upload for the day. But I wanted to go ahead and do this case while it was heavy on my noggin, and yeah, and another thing is it pulls strings to my heart whenever I seen the documentary of Unseen. Y'all probably want to wrestle that, right? I seen it on Tuba TV. It's a free movie channel where you don't gotta pay nothing like forever. You can look at all kind of movies, all kind. I have been doing the documentaries. I have been looking at them like basically all day from the time I woke up to like near the end of my day. Um, but yeah, it's Tuba TV. It's TUBI TV, and you can download it. You can look at all kinds of movies and all kind of categories. But anyways, guys, let's jump right into this. Let's go. This is the case of Anthony Sowell. With this case, we're going to go up to none other than Cleveland, Ohio. Anthony Sowell, who was born August 9th of 1959, is an American serial killer, rapist, and necrophilia. God, I got some words, but okay. Known as the Cleveland Strangler. So, like I said, this happened in Cleveland. It had been that too long ago. But it has been quite a while. But it had happened in the 2000s. He was arrested on October of 2009 after the bodies of 11 women were discovered by police investigators at his home. 12:205 police investigators at his in Pearl, and that happened on 12/205 and Pearl Avenue in the Mount Pleasant neighborhood of Cleveland, Ohio. It's really pulling my strings, guys, that this can go on for that long of a time and nobody not know. There was a store. What are you doing? Well, those are crazy high numbers. But we're actually seeing so many people already head out to the polls. Sorry, guys, but there was a store owner there in that area that noticed an unusual smell that was coming from his dumpster at some point. But he did not report this to police. He said that he asked his upstairs or next door. It was either like somebody like next door to him or somebody upstairs from the next door, and something like that. But it was close to his store that they own the dog, obviously. And he asked her if her dog was still alive, because that is how the smell was smelling, as if though it was a decomposing I wouldn't say corpse, but a decomposing smell. But he never reported this to police. He never had police come out and see where that smell was coming from, which was stupid on his part. But also what was stupid on his part is the simple fact that in the documentary, he said that Anthony was a quote hero of sorts, unquote, because he was cleaning the neighborhood of garbage. Yeah, guys, y'all heard that right. He was calling human life garbage just because they were on drugs and because they were, doing the inedible, doing what they had to do to get their fix, to get their drugs. But just because a person is on drugs, and just because does not make them any more human than a person that isn't on drugs. It makes them no less of a human being. They are still humans. Me as a addict myself, I know this. And I experience it on daily levels, of being treated so much differently than a non-addict person. So, take it from somebody that is, a recovering addict, but an addict still. Because that's something that we can relapse at any given moment. I said yes, Melania. And we can relapse at any given moment. But, doesn't make us no less of a human being than anybody else here on this earth. I mean, if anything, I think we're more human or in touch with our feelings than, a non-addict is. Just saying, guys, don't judge a book by its cover. And don't judge somebody by what they do. Get to know that person from the inside, other than what you see them do on the outside. Train of thought, guys. Anyways, let's get on with this. Let me tell you a little bit about Anthony. Blah. But I want to tell you a little bit about him anyways. Anthony Edward Sowell was raised in East Cleveland, one of the 7 children born to a single parent, Claudia Gertrude. I think I am pronouncing that wrong. Gertrude. My bad, guys. Gerson. 7 other children belonging to Sowell's sister also lived in the household, having moved in after her death following a chronic illness. According to Anthony's niece, Leona Davis, Gerson subjected them to physical abuse while her own children watched from an adjacent rooms. In one incident, Gerson forced Davis to strip naked in front of the other children, then whip her with an electrical cord until she bled. Kind of feel sorry for the guy in a way, but obviously, as you see this, your sister being subjected to this type of torture, basically by his own mother, it is bound to leave a scar somewhere on this poor child, and which it did, as you see later on down the road what happened. Yeah. Anthony himself began raping his niece on an almost daily basis for 2 years, guys, starting when she was only 10. Sad. It was also reported by Davis that the other males in the household also participated in the rapes. So she wasn't only getting raped by Anthony, she was also getting raped by the other male figures in her house. On January 24th, 1978, at the age of 19, Anthony entered the United States Marine Corps. He attended recruit training at Marine Corps Recruit Depot, Paris Inland in South Carolina, then was further trained as an electrician at the Camp Lejeune in North Carolina. That's where we're at. On July 13, 1978, he was assigned to the 2nd Marine Aircraft Wing at Marine Corps Air Station Cherry Point, also in North Carolina. In 1980, Anthony spent a year overseas with the 3rd Force Service Support Group, then returned to Cherry Point. He was then ordered to Marine Corps Base Camp Butler in I cannot pronounce that, but it was in Japan, on January 20th, 1984. A year later, he transferred to Camp Pendleton in California for 3 days into his discharge on January 18th, 1985. During his 7-year Marine Corps career, Corporal Anthony received a Good Conduct Medal with 1 Service Star, a Sea Service Deployment Ribbon, a Certificate of Condemnation, my bad, guys. Meritorious, something like that, and 2 letters of appreciation. So he had a good thing going for him whenever, he was out of the Marines. I mean, this guy had a lot going for him, and he just threw it all away. Okay. In 1989, Malvert Sockwell, who was 3 months pregnant, went to Anthony's home voluntarily. When she tried to leave, he bound her hands and feet with a tie and belt, then gagged her with a rag. The victim told police, quote, "He kicked me real hard because my body started tingling. I thought I was going to die." Anthony was charged with kidnapping, rape, and attempted murder. He eventually pled guilty to the charge of attempted rape, and as a result, he served 15 years in prison. He was released in 2005. Anthony worked in a factory until 2007 when he began collecting unemployment benefits. Neighbors said he earned a living selling scrap metal. They complained to the health department of a foul smell in the neighborhood. He was a member of an online dating service where he stated that he was a master looking for a submissive person to train. Okay, guys, y'all heard that. A master looking for a submissive partner to train. Okay. Lori Frazier, a niece of Cleveland Mayor Frank G. Jackson, began a relationship with Anthony shortly after his release from prison and resided in his home. She claims to have smelled the stench of decaying bodies and that she was told the smell was coming from Anthony's stepmother. When she moved out, she claimed that the smell was from Ray's sausage shop, located next door to the Anthony residence. There is some confusion about when Frazier stopped living in Anthony's home. In a video interview, she mentions moving out in 2007, but in a published article, she is said to have been living there until 2008. Another article quotes a friend of Frazier's stating that Frazier stopped spending time at Anthony's home in 2008. So it's safe to say that she moved out in 2008, somewhere along those lines, right, guys? Yeah, pretty much. Sorry, guys, mouth get dry. But anyway, this is the discovery of the bodies and about his arrest. It's just sad how this all played out, guys. In September 2009, Anthony invited Latoria, something like that, Phillips to his home for a drink. On September 22nd, 2009, she reported to police that after a few drinks, he became angry, hit her, choked her, and raped her as she passed out. On October 29th, police arrived at his home with a warrant to arrest him for the alleged rape. He was not there, but he was located and arrested 2 days later. So Miss Phillips, she goes to the police after, obviously, she was, in the documentary, she is known around the neighborhood as Lala. Hold on, guys. Let me pause for a minute. Hi guys, I'm back. But yeah, like I was saying, she was known around the neighborhood as Lala. So we're gonna call her Lala. Lala, I actually like that. That is actually really cute. Miss Phillips was a known prostitute. Was addicted to crack cocaine. So, she had to do what she had to do to get her fix every day, And usually whenever you are on that type of drug, on a hard drug like that, you do a lot of prostitution. You do a lot of, selling your body. You do a lot of things like that to get your fix. Melania, good night. I'm not saying that everybody that's on cocaine or on crack cocaine does this. I'm not saying, I'm not judging nobody because I am, like I said, a recovering addict myself. So I don't judge nobody. I have no right to. But, she was known around the neighborhood to do that. And, on the biography, guys, where's my mind at? But on the documentary, the store owner that we talked about previously claims that she sent her young son, I'm not sure of his age, into his store one night to buy it's like a Brillo pad that they use. I know the name of it. It's right at the tip of my tongue. But it's something like a Brillo pad, guys. It's not a Brillo pad. It's made of like what's that song? I cannot think of it. It's right on the tip of my tongue, but it's something similar to that you could buy in the store. But most of the time they buy it whenever they need to to smoke their crack on, or something they do, or something to clean their pipes with. I think it's something that they clean their pipes with. Um, it's called chrome, something like that, in that nature. But yeah, he claims that she sent her young son down there with a box that of what she needed, and he said that he threw it away and did not give it to her young son, which I agree with him on that. I would have done the same thing. I'm not going to give something that I know what you're going to do with, and I know what you're going to do with it, to your young infant, to your young son. I'm not going to do that. I don't know why I want to say infant son. He wasn't infant. He was walking. So, but he was young. He was like maybe 8, 9, 10, or something like that. But he was somewhere in them digits. But yeah, that's what he claims. So, but she was a known prostitute in the area. The bodies of 2 women were buried in a shallow grave in the basement, and 4 other women were found on the 3rd floor of the home. So this is a 3-story home that Anthony occupied. Because usually in the documentary it speaks of being like apartment, like a family lived on the bottom or something like that in that nature, and that his apartment was at the top at one point. But I'm not sure. I can only tell you what they said, but according to this, it was just his home. So hey. Oh, God, excuse me. On the 3rd floor of the home, in the crawl spaces in the house. After digging in the backyard, investigators found 3 more bodies and the remains of a 4th. Police also found a human skull and a bucket inside the house, which brought the body count to 11. Most of the victims were killed by manual strangulation, and others were gagged or had ligatures on their necks when they were discovered. Anthony also had at least 3 more rape victims that he had actually let live. All 3 never reported the attacks due to their prior drug history or other personal reasons. Many victims were led to this property with an invitation to smoke crack cocaine with him. He was a known drug user throughout this neighborhood. So yeah, they was led there on the initiation that they were going to smoke crack cocaine, or they were going to drink, or they were going to do a combination of both. And most of them never left this place, unfortunately. Guys, hold on one second. That's my child. Alright guys, I am back, but like I was saying, they were led here on the assumption that they was going to probably drink and smoke crack cocaine. At the time of his arrest, Anthony was 50 years old. He had been living at the location for 4 years. He was held on a $5 million bond. His trial was originally supposed to start on June 2nd, 2010, but was repeatedly delayed. First to September 7th to allow Anthony's attorneys more time to prepare, then to February 14th of 2011, then to May 2nd at the request of Anthony's defense attorneys, who needed more time to comb through the thousands of records and hours of surveillance video footage shot from the property next to Anthony's Imperial Avenue home, where the remains of 11 women were discovered in 2009, and later to June 6 at the request of the prosecution due to the scheduling conflicts. The trial eventually began on June 6 of 2011. So that's just crazy, guys. 11 bodies. And we will get to the victims right here in a sec. This is on his conviction, his sentencing, and his appeals. Anthony was charged with 11 counts of aggravated murder and 74 counts of rape, kidnapping, tampering with evidence, and abuse of a corpse. He pleaded not guilty by reason of insanity. Yeah, right. but later changed his plea to simply not guilty. On July 22nd, 2011, he was convicted on all but two counts against him, including the murders of the 11 women whose bodies were found in his house in 2009. On August 10th, jurors recommended the death penalty for Anthony. On August 12th, Judge Dick Ambrose upheld the jury's recommendation. Since September 14, 2011, Anthony has resided on death row at Chillicothe something correctional institution. In November 2011, Anthony's lawyers, Jeffrey F. Keller and Thomas Rain, filed a notice of appeal with the Supreme Court of Ohio. Anthony's execution was set for October 29, 2012, but in March 2012, a motion for stay of execution was filed. The motion was granted in April, pending final decomposition of the appeal. In October 2012, Anthony's new lawyers, Jeffrey M. Guzmo and Erica of the Something County Public Defender's Office, appealed to have his conviction of death overturned on 21 points, with the main three being that Anthony did not receive a fair trial, that the courtroom had been closed to the public, and that he received a lousy legal reputation. Yeah. In September 2014, the court asked both parties to address three issues. On April 5, 2016, the Ohio Supreme Court held arguments from Anthony's appellate attorneys and the county's DA representing the state of Ohio regarding the merits of the case of the closed pretrial suppression hearing prior to Anthony's trial and the defendant's right to a fair and public trial. The attorneys representing Anthony argued that Anthony's Sixth Amendment right was violated by closing the suppression hearing to the press, and that the court should commute his death sentence to life in prison as a remedy to the sculptural error that resulted in his violation. They also argued that counsel had made errors and that urged the Ohio Supreme Court to send the case back to the county for a retrial. Frankly, we blew it, Attorney Jeffrey Gizmo told the Ohio Supreme Court. So basically, they wanted to spare this guy his life. So his appeals were all denied in May 2020. Everything was denied, I think, confirming the death sentence. So he is sentenced to death. But as of May of 2020, he is still sitting on death row. So the victims are listed. On November the 5th, 2009, 2 of the 11 victims were identified. The first to be identified was Tanya Carmichael, a 53-year-old African-American woman who had disappeared more than a year earlier. Her body was found buried in his backyard. She appeared to have been strangled and was identified through the use of DNA evidence. Her mother had reported her missing in December 2008. The second victim was identified as Talisha Fortison, a 31-year-old African-American woman who had disappeared 5 months earlier. Although she had been missing since June, her mother did not report her missing until she heard the news coverage regarding the dead bodies discovered in Anthony's home. A lot of these women was not reported missing by anybody because they were known to go, quite a while sometimes. When you're on drugs, you tend to go missing, like MIA, a lot of times, and then you just resurface just all of a sudden, and there's usually nothing wrong in that case. There's it's just you're on a binge, and but you normally come back home. But unfortunately, these women did not, and I hope their families got closure, and I want to say in advance to rest in peace to these women. They did not deserve to die. Just because, their lifestyle, it was unwarranted for. So with that being said, let's move on. On November 8, 2009, three more bodies were identified. Crystal Dowser was a 38-year-old African-American woman who went missing in May of 2007. The mother of 7 children lived in the area where her body was discovered. Her family reported her missing to the Cleveland Police Department. This was not the first time she had gone missing, and the family accused the police of failing to investigate. The family took it upon themselves to post flyers and call hospitals. So that was really negligent of the Cleveland Police Department on that part. I'm pretty sure they know their mother. I'm pretty sure that she would at least, called or or would have resurfaced, if anything, you know, for her kids, to see to make, it just don't make no sense on the police department, their part. It made no sense whatsoever, guys. But a lot of times, that's just if you got that rap with the police, they don't care. They don't care. Let's put it that way. Next is Amelia Amy Hunter, who was a 47-year-old African American woman. Hunter, a beautician and a mother of 3, did not live in the area where her body was found, but she did visit frequently. A previous injury left her unable to use one of her arms. Her family did not report her missing until the police began removing bodies from Anthony's home. So a lot of these women did not, I'm sorry, but I seen something. But anyways, like I was saying, a lot of these did not, even report them missing until they seen the bodies be removed from Anthony's home, and then they decided, they was going to report it just in case one of their loved ones happened to be in his home, and unfortunately, some of them were. But Michelle Mason was a 45-year-old African-American woman who was last seen in October 2008. She lived in the area where her body was found. According to records, the police conducted a full investigation when her family reported her missing. Records of missing persons going back to June 2005, released from when Anthony was released from prison, were searched, and DNA testing was conducted on the bodies found at Anthony's house. Protesters holding posters of missing loved ones gathered outside his home at the time. East Cleveland police also reopened several cold cases from the late 1980s. The murders by strangulation used a similar MO and has stopped around 1989, the same time that Anthony was arrested. The FBI at the time was gathering information to see if Anthony may have been linked to unsolved cases in the cities where he once lived. So with that being said, let's read down the list of the 11 victims so we can give them their respect in this video. You got Crystal Dowser, who was 35, Tisha Carver, who was 31, LaShonda Long, who was 25, Michelle Mason, who was 45, Tanya Carmichael, who was 53, Nancy Cobbs, who was 43, excuse me guys, Amelia Hunter, who was 47, Talisha Forreston, who was 31, Janice Webb, who was 49, Kim Yvette Smith, who was 44, and Diane Turner, who was 38. Pay them a moment of respect. Okay, guys. After Anthony's conviction in December 2011, Anthony's former residence at the Imperial Avenue was demolished on the order of city leaders. Anthony resides on death row at the correctional institution. So, yeah, guys, I just had to tell that story because I really have not heard too many people talk on that story, and it was heavy on my heart. It was pulling my strings. It was heavy on my mind. So I had to get that story told. Anyways, guys, I hope y'all enjoy this. Remember, love is love. Be kind. Don't judge nobody just because, they do drugs or they're different or something. Do not judge a book by its cover. Know that person from the inside other than what you see on the outside. And always, always put God first. I love y'all. I'm out.